In February 2020, the dancers and choreographers of Allied Motion Dance Company were excitedly preparing for the Central Pennsylvania Theater and Dance Festival. In March, we, like everyone else in the United States, was watching a series of closures. No more rehearsals, no more performances, no more festival. As April dragged on, a small group decided that they couldn't be content just to wait things out. They conceived of an idea, the Community Choreography Project. Using the power of social media, Anna Rossi Lansendorfer, Sam Baxa, and KT Huckabee sent out a call to the community. We'll give you the tasks, you give us the choreography, and with the videos you send us, we will create something wonderful. Eventually, the project will culminate in a live performance with multimedia that will incorporate your choreography, our choreography, and the original video submissions. But with the relaunch of the Central Pennsylvania Theater and Dance Festival online, we thought we would take this opportunity to show you some of the submissions we have received from the community and from our own dancers, and also to give you a hint of how our dancers have found the material interesting, intriguing, and inspiring.
Hi, my name's Anna Rossi Lansendorfer, and I am the project coordinator for Allied Motion Dance Company's new community choreography project. We are taking submissions from anybody and everybody who moves based on a series of tasks, which you can find on our Facebook page at Allied Motion Dance Company and our Instagram page at Allied Motion Dance. We are taking your interpretations that you're submitting to our company, and we get to watch your movement. It doesn't matter if it's professional, you don't have to have a dance training, you don't have to have a dance background. Everybody can move, and that's our mission as a company anyway, is making these resources available.
My name is KT Huckabee. I am the Artistic Director of Allied Motion Dance Company. Our company goal is building community through movement, and we do this a variety of ways. First, through performance. In many different formats and venues, we offer as many performances as we can to as wide an audience as possible. Two, through our rehearsal and company classes, we hope that dancers who age out of the traditional dance studio or graduate from higher education dance majors or minors, especially in Central Pennsylvania, who don't have many opportunities to continue their growth, we hope to offer a path for them to continue growing as artists, as creators, and as dancers. Our Children's Dance Theater Workshop. Through Arts Altoona and other agencies, we offer classes to children who may not have the opportunity due to cost or accessibility to explore dance as an option for themselves. Allied Motion hopes to remove any of those barriers, and anyone who is interested may participate. And finally, our Day of Dance, an annual event with workshops 1 day a year for student dancers between the ages of 12 to 18. We offer workshops for them in a variety of formats and genres that are not usually offered at a traditional dance studio, and hoping to expand the definition of dance for everybody involved. Of course, most recently, the whole country has been in isolation, separated from family, community, friends. Allied Motion is feeling your pain. We are separated from our dance family, and we miss each other desperately. The Community Choreography Project is designed to expand our community and to keep us working and creating as dancers and choreographers and explorers of movement. Hopefully, after viewing these videos, you will be inspired to move, explore movement, become a choreographer, and share with us what you find.
Allied Motion published the first task on April 29, 2020. The instructions: run in place, throw arms away from the body, twirl or spin, lift a leg or foot off the ground slowly, balance, and melt to the floor. Let's look at a couple of interpretations and find out what our dancers thought of them.
This was one of our very first submissions through Facebook for this community choreography project. I am choosing this task because this is a non-dancer, and I think that it's super important to look at all sides of this for where we are going to interpret it later as a company to create a brand new piece. So I'm going to start. So the first task is to run in place. What I'm seeing here that I really like is that this person is running in place just by shifting weight back and forth through the hips. Her feet never actually leave the ground. I think that that's something that I'm going to use as a choreographer as an aspect of this new piece, is that there is a lot of running in a lot of our tasks. However, taking it in a brand new way or in just an unexpected way is going to be something that I play with and look at for a while. Sometimes feeling stuck, especially right now during our entire separation period, can feel like you are stuck, literally, to the ground, even though you're shifting. So I'm going to look at that later whenever we get together in the studio as a company and explore some options with that as well. Now, she had just done a spin too while I was talking about that, and I enjoy how much she enjoyed that. Sometimes just turning around with your arms in the air is enough to put a big old smile on your face. I know it is for me. And then the melt to the ground is also something that was done with a lot of control and not something that just kind of disappears. There was intent in that I saw. I don't know if it was on purpose or not, but that's why this project is cool.
Hello, I'm here sharing what I appreciated and noticed in a submission of Task 1 by someone named Thomas. And what I want to really appreciate and highlight here are the use of humor, the use of play and objects, and how literal this task was taken. So let's take a look at this video together. Starting with the first task, running in place. Yeah, really appreciating using the camera frame as a space, and then you look down and see the camera pan down. That was a creative surprise there. And the second piece, throwing arms away from the body, enjoying that little sway. And the surprise, the facial expression, really enjoying the use of humor there. Hands literally disappeared. And in the third piece, twirling and spinning, really appreciating the use of the flower petals. You can really see how they just twirl and spin on their own in the wind. And yeah, so just want to highlight that creativity as well. Also noticing at the very end of the twirling and spinning, that pause with the arms out in the air like that, just felt, I could almost feel the openness there, and that was just really beautiful to see as well. And moving to the fourth piece within Task 1, lifting the leg off the ground, seeing that little T-Rex there. Yeah. And the fifth piece, balancing, and you see that little can come into the camera frame. Something's being poured out. Yeah, creative use of balancing there. And yeah, and then this actual melting to the floor, referencing the Wizard of Oz there. Yeah, so I just want to appreciate this take on Task 1 from Thomas. It was very creative, had a lot of humor in it, and I really enjoyed that. So thank you for your creativity, Thomas.
I chose to comment on this task number 1. I was just blown away by the very first thing that this man did with his task of running in place. I thought it was very ingenious for him to physically run in place, but then for us to look down and see that he actually had the place written out to confine his space and really delineate where he was. I thought it was very ingenious. I loved his throwing arms away from body, the taking off of the glove right here. All of it I thought was really unique and a beautiful way to show that anyone can dance. It doesn't have to be specific dance moves, but anybody can dance and anybody can use their ideas and their body in unique ways. The use of props here, I just love. I love all the things that he's done. His balance is is fabulous, and he adds the comedic aspect to it again with the props. And then as his melt to the floor with the prop is just fabulous. So congrats to him on his unique choice of movements, his use of space and time and props at the end there with the witch's hat. I just really love. So thank you for sharing that and for bringing me a little bit of joy.
Task 2, published on May 1st, 2020, gave us lunge, retreat, float, snap, leave the ground, sweep, hover, condense. We got a lot of terrific submissions for this task, including an extraordinary submission by an entire dance school. Let's watch.
Wow, that was a lot of information in a brief 20 seconds. This Zoom experience that we've all been living in, including dancers and dance studios, the Dance Academy of Hanover, Pennsylvania, is no different. But they've taken these tasks and in this format, did an improvisation responding to all of these tasks simultaneously, separately, in space. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at these as they relate to each other, more so than the individual dancers. And I love how these things just happen. It's as wonderful as having an improvisation in a dance studio. In the first 6 seconds, what I really like is when you watch the top row, the middle dancer is the connector between the right and left. You see the dancer lunge from one to the next, and the dancers on either side responding in time, but not knowing it, to the other dancers. I love the fact that the dancers are either headless or when they drop to the ground, they drop out of the frame. But the center right dancer, she actually enters and exits the space, which is quite lovely because that is what we often use on the stage. And how is that impacting what is happening around her? The sense of confinement is pretty obvious just in this format. Everybody's living in these little boxes. But when you look at the top left dancer, whose feet are very solidly grounded, she hardly moves from that spot. She has a sense of self-confinement. When you compare that to the top right dancer, who is really clearly limited by the frame in which she exists. She's bouncing back and forth from the edge of the frame to the edge, possibly going out of the frame just for a little bit, but not ever her whole body, and back and forth. So these two bookmarks on the top row have a different sense of confinement. When you watch the top middle dancer and the center left dancer, at about 4 seconds, you will see that they will pass kicks back and forth to each other. Sometimes the kicks will be turning, sometimes not, but they continue this sharing of kicking all the way through to the end in that last task, which is condensed, which happens simultaneously, facing the same direction, and then they change that as well. The center middle dancer and the bottom dancer. This is one of my favorite visual relationships that last throughout the entire tasks. They're often moving in the same directions, working each task at the same time, but the variations relate so well to each other. The bottom dancer will be in an arch while the top dancer is in this hover over top of her. And then she drops to the floor as the bottom dancer kicks around, and they end simultaneously. In Task 2 by the Dance Academy of Hanover, Pennsylvania. And thank you so much to all of the dancers who participated and shared their gift with us. Thank you.
I chose to comment on Carly Esworthy's task number 2. I just love Carly's execution of this task, and I think there are 3 reasons for that. The first one is that she somehow manages to make sure that the task is not a template. It's really just an inspiration. I think that this is a sequence where it's actually a little bit hard to assign each word to a movement. There's some clear movements that stand out to me. I think that her execution of float and her execution of hover and certainly sweep are really, really clear, but the whole thing doesn't have a sort of A, B, C, D, E feeling to it, which I think is interesting and terrific. The other thing that I really love about this video is that she uses the natural landscape, but also she uses the camera frame in a way that is really beautiful. I think that the beautiful sky behind her, the way that she interacts with the dirt when she does her sweep, give her this sort of placement in space, but at the same time, she's not afraid to allow that frame of the film to also impact the way that it looks. And I think that that is what we could all learn during this time of trying to think of video, if we haven't done that before, that it's not just a way of capturing what would otherwise be on stage or in the studio. It really is its own unique medium. And I think Carly's execution of this task shows that in a beautiful way. Let's look at the tape. So here we've got the float and the snap. But I love how she's getting down there with the dirt. It's a really natural and beautiful moment. The dirt itself is floating and hovering as she is too. And then finally, just this way that she has of drawing out those last couple of words. She's just gonna hover until she's done hovering. And then coming into the end. Task 3. This one was introduced on May 4th, 2020. The task list, roll, unroll, slither, creep, and drape, is very evocative. Let's see what one participant found to inspire a movement phrase.
Stop. Task 3's words were roll, unroll, slither, creep, and drape. And in this video, I really enjoyed the dancer's interpretation because she used her surroundings rather than let it limit her. Right now, it's weird. A lot of us don't have access to our studios and our normal places to dance, and I think it's easy to get stuck in a rut and, you know, lose that creativity when you could use this time to be more creative. I really liked that about her video. And I also think that all of these submissions are going to lead to a piece that we create with the community. And this could lead to costumes or props that maybe we hadn't thought of before. So I think it was a good submission for us. I also enjoyed that you could clearly see the words that she was portraying through movement. And the one that really stuck out to me was the word creep. And I associated that with her hand because it like just came around the wall and it came across the top and all you could see was her hand moving. And it honestly made me think of the hand from the Addams Family, which is kind of creepy. So it all makes sense and it's really cool and enjoyable. And then my final comment is that her last word was drape, and she used drape to really nicely end the video and end her movement. It was a clear ending instead of like, is it over? Is it not? And I really liked that, and I thought it was a really nice way to end it.
As April has moved into May and May into June, some of us are finding inspiration a little thin on the ground. So that's the time to take this task. Move with strength, jump, tear or shred, extend, flick, invert, twist, and wobble, somewhere outside the box.
The use of nature for this task number 7 I thought was really brilliant. The move with strength. Water is such a strong and powerful thing in nature, and I thought it was perfectly described it. The animals here moving, jumping, it's really ingenious. So nobody said you had to use your own body, but to take inspiration from animals and nature around us I thought was really, really wonderful. So thank you for this task number 7.
All of these have been submitted through Facebook and Instagram using the hashtag Allied Motion Community, as well as tagging us directly in our social media platforms through yours. However, if you're not comfortable putting yourself out on your social media platform, moving and performing and interpreting however you'd like, you can always directly message them to us privately, and you will still be a part of this project. We also have an email address, alliedmotiondance@gmail.com, which can receive submissions as well for the Allied Motion Community Choreography Project.